Watch this. Her agency sold over $900,000 in new business with just 3 employees while she was out of the country. Without further ado, bring in Cassidy.
On the stopwatch, staring at the diamond, make you pussy baby hot scotch. Over here at my spot, say she wanna party. I do it big, baby, like my L-R-G. Show the gang all that wheel, feeling like a rock band. 87, 87, 87.
Okay, thank you for having a little fun. You guys gotta move your butt every now and then. How's everybody doing today? You having fun in Vegas? So, anybody win any money? Anybody lost it? Everyone's like, me. Okay, well, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Cassidy Arbeli. I am an agency owner, been in the insurance industry for over 13 years. And our agency is actually located here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We do business all over the country. And today I'm going to talk to you about how we built an agency, like as you heard, $900,000 in 1 month new business premium, 3 employees, 2 sales, 1 customer service representative. And how I don't do anything in the business, and when I say that, I mean, I literally don't even know how to answer the phone. Like, if I had to put somebody on hold, I'd be fumbling. So does anybody want to learn how to exit themselves out of their agency? Build a self-ran business, still make money? Anybody? Okay, I'm gonna ask one more time. I think people are falling asleep in the back. Okay, cool. Anybody want to build a self-ran business, still makes money? Yeah? There we go, okay. I know this screen is small, but I'm gonna read it off a little bit so you guys in the back can kind of see it. Also, just, I'm gonna be sharing some really good stuff, so if you're sitting in the back and you can't see, you might wanna move forward or take screenshots so you can kind of look at it later. But if you wanna build a $1 million agency and a self-ran business without being handcuffed to your office every day, then I'm your girl. And this is how I went from trying to sell it all to everyone and not making the money I wanted to, all while working 12-hour days. Anybody feel that? Right? Handcuffed to our desk or businesses, and never having time to enjoy my life, and getting to a point where our agency is selling more than we ever thought was possible. When I told my team the goals that we were going to have from going captive, I started State Farm, to independent, they thought I was high as a kite. And now they're selling way more than they ever thought possible. The clients we enjoy working with and buying back freedom using the profit we make to build a life we love. And when I say we, you'll see I say we a lot. That also means helping my team build a life they love as well. So today I'm going to share with you how I transformed the way I view and do business. And we're going to talk about how you can too. One of the biggest things that I had to realize was I was doing a lot of the doing. I was just like another glorified employee in the agency, where I was quoting and I was answering the phone and I was meeting with clients and I was closing sales and I was servicing and I was doing all these things, sitting there sifting through my emails every day, right? All of that stuff. And if it was just as simple as white knuckling your way through getting all the tasks done every single day, then you all would be further along than where you are right now. You are not where you want to be because you're too busy working in your business and not spending enough time working on your business. So let's talk about what that looks like. There are 4 stages that I consider the stages of being a CEO. The first one, as you can see, takes the most amount of space on the screen, is the foundation, is you doing the doing. You actually doing the work, the daily operational activities that need to happen in your business. And that's totally fine, that's normal. You should know what needs to be done in your business and you should know how to get it done. Because otherwise, how else are you going to hire the right people, create the right processes, and be able to scale to the next? The next part is deciding. So we're going to go through all of these. So the doing is, you're doing all the daily activities in your business and operations. How many of you feel like you're in the doing phase? Raise your hand high, I can't see that far. Okay, cool. The next stage after that is called deciding. Meaning you've hired help, maybe it's a VA, maybe it's a part-time employee, maybe it's a full-time employee, or you're starting to build your staff, but they can't really fully do anything without you. How many of you feel like you're there? They're knocking at your door, they're sending you text messages, they're emailing you, they're sending you a message on whatever communication software you're using. They're leaving you Post-its on the door. What happens is most people get stuck between doing and deciding. And what I mean by that is you start doing a lot of doing, you're working 12 hours a day, and suddenly you're like, I need to hire somebody. And then you go hire somebody, and then they shadow you, and they start trying to learn how to do the things that you're doing, but you actually don't know how to teach them how to do it, or now you're working 14 hours because you have to fix their mistakes and you have to stop and do everything to teach them how to do each thing, and then you're trying to get to the deciding phase of all the things because you have a little bit of help, but you finally realize, what the fuck, by the way, I pushed that. Why the fuck am I paying these people money for me to end up doing their job? I'm just gonna fire them and do the thing myself and just go back to the doing phase. How many of you felt that? Okay, right? I was in this cycle for a very long time. And in the first 2 years, we went through 22 employees because of it. So if you've had some turnover, it's okay. We're gonna teach you a little bit of ways to stop that. Once you're able to get from the deciding phase to the delegating phase, which basically means your team is doing a lot of the daily operations, and you've been able to successfully delegate. However, they're not in the ownership phase. And I will explain to you in just a little bit what that means. And there's still maybe things that you're doing in your business. So a lot of you are here this week, which means somebody else is helping you hopefully run your agency and get things done. Or it's just piling up when you get home, which will be super fun, right? So you're probably in between the deciding and the delegating phase. I'm going to talk about what the next phase is, and I'd love to know where you guys feel like you're at. So the designing phase is where you're officially free, your team is taking care of the business the way you want them to, and they're bringing in the results that you guys have made as goals for your agency. And you're now able to focus your time and energy in scaling and designing the next phase, or where you're going to the next level of your business. Okay, so now you're able to spend time working on your business and not just in your business. So this is where I'm at. And it took me going from doing to deciding to delegating to designing to understanding these are the phases I have to go through. And everyone has to go through each of these phases. You can't really skip them. Okay, so again, raise your hand if you're in the doing. So it's really important for you to understand what these are to help you, again, identify where you are. The biggest thing that helps me in anything I do, but especially in business, is first you got to become aware. Aware of the problem, aware of where you're starting from, aware of what you're doing, what kind of resources you have. You got to become aware. And only then can you do something to solve a problem or to move forward. So this helps you become aware and figuring out where you're at and what's next. So, like I said, in 1 month of sales with 3 team members, 2 sales, 1 CSR, we sold $899,000 in new business premium. This has nothing to do with renewals. This is nothing about our book of business. This was just 1 month in sales. And also, imagine what that commission check was like for those team members, right? So not only, like I said, are we here to help profit our own agency, but we're also here to help our team win. And we help our team win, we end up winning as well. Yeah?
That's right.
All right, cool. So we're gonna go over the 5 things that I think we did very well in order for us to get to this place. The first thing is we built a strong brand with only clients we want to work with, which means we make more money with less work. We built an operating system that's scalable and repeatable so that my team, and so do I, we know what to do and how we need to do it. Then we built the Powerhouse team to do the work and get the results, high monthly sales that are done by my team, meaning without me. And we built a money plan for increasing profits, so that means that we make more money with less cost to operate. When I started working on building a strong brand, I started understanding there's a big difference between branding and marketing. When I first got into this industry, I mentioned I was a captive agent with State Farm. Do we have any captives here at all? 1, 2, okay, cool. Hey, I still love the captive world, so no shame there whatsoever, no judgment. But I realized they pressure us and they push us to spend a lot of money on marketing, right? And back then, it was a lot of internet leads, a lot of those type of things that everybody was buying, and we were all trying to sell to the same internet lead that was filtering through all of the agencies. And we were just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I was putting up billboards, I was doing shopping carts, I was doing magazines, mailers, all the different things, on top of internet leads and all of that, right? And the thing is, what I learned was, when you don't have a strong brand for your agency, or even you as an agent, if you want to be client-facing, all the marketing efforts, all that money you're spending on marketing is going to fall short. So I started working on building a brand. The first thing we did is we identified our ideal client avatar. And really all that means is, who's your target audience? In all of marketing history, there's always been a target audience that you're trying to reach. But for us, we broke it down even more and we went into who is our ideal client. Not just an audience, but like who is the person we really want to work with. And so I sat down with my team and I said, who is the client we have in our book of business that when they call, we all run to pick up the phone? And if so, why? What are the characteristics about this person that makes us want to work with them? And if we could multiply this client by 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, however big you want your agency to get, we would be really happy to have those clients in our book of business. So we got very specific on who that was. The other thing is that doesn't mean that you can't sell insurance or work with other clients, but you start building your brand to speak to that ideal client avatar. You start building copy and language and branding assets to speak to that client so we cut through the noise and we're able to get their ears to perk up when they see and hear what we're doing and they think to themselves, that's who I want to do business with. The other thing is we as a team talked about what is our brand promise? How do we stand out in an industry that has become a commodity? What is our unique value proposition? What is unique about us? And how do we stand out? And we live that promise every single day, and we also deliver on it. So when we tell our ideal client avatar, hey, this is why you should do business with us, when they actually work with us, they get that experience. And that starts to build a really strong reputation and brand. So everybody on the team lives this brand daily. Another thing I will say about this is when we do any marketing efforts, but to be honest with you, we spent $0 on ad spend. Do you guys remember how much we made? 0. Okay. All clients came to us. I actually took a look this morning sitting in the car waiting in the parking lot before I came in. We had 64, I believe, leads that came to us in the month of April. It just ended yesterday with an average premium of $4,000 each. That's $260,000 in premium to quote for the month, for last month. Now, with that might only be one policy, and there's more people and more things we can sell to them, right? But all of that business came to us. Every single piece of it was referral-based. We didn't call anybody, we didn't do any leads, we didn't call in, have any call lists, anything like that. 100% organic referrals, okay? That's what the brand does. And it probably took us about 12 months to build this brand and stay consistent in the way we're communicating. Because your brand is going to be your reputation, who you are, what you're saying about yourself. Your marketing is going to be the vehicle that you take that brand and you use it like a megaphone to tell the entire community, your state, all the clients you want to work with about what your brand is about. And when we did that, we built that strong reputation where now people are coming to us, they're seeking us out. Okay? My team is overwhelmed with sales. Okay, so the next thing we did was we built an operating system that is scalable and repeatable. And there's 3 things we did that I think stand out the most. First thing is a process chart. I know you guys come to conferences and conventions and you hear everybody talk about you need to create a process, right? I'm pretty sure the gentleman in front of me did that. Probably Dr. Billy Williams talked about processes that you need to create. But you guys, this might be the unsexy stuff, but when you get to go on a 3-week vacation with your family and shit's still getting done, it is sexy as fuck. Okay? All right, cool. We all agree. The next thing that we did was when I knew what the systems and processes were that we needed to create to make that scalable and repeatable system, I knew what type of people I had to hire. And when I knew what type of people I had to hire, I was able to create something I call position contracts, which I'll dive into what that is. And then we created a really robust tracking system. Basically, we have our process chart completely digitized. And what it is we have 4 different categories for the different systems and processes that we have in our business. And honestly, I have 5 businesses. Yes, possibly opening the 6th. I know I'm crazy. Also 3 kids, in case I didn't mention that. And happily married, luckily. They all fall into these 4 categories. You have marketing, which is acquisition, right, of leads, clients, and prospects. You have sales. You have your sales system of how you're going to sell and convert these people. You have service, making sure you're retaining them, or even if you have a product-based business, that means delivering your products. And then you have administrative stuff, business administrative stuff. So everything that we do really falls into one of these 4 categories. That shows every single item, every activity, everything that we do in the business And it also is, what is it that we do? Who is responsible for doing that? When do they need to get it done? Is this a daily thing? Is this a monthly thing, weekly thing? How often do we need to do this? And how they get it done. So that includes workflows, checklists, scripts, templates, forms they might need to use, videos on how to use software, screenshots, all of that stuff. By the way, I'm going to give you 2 quick tips that I think everybody is like, when they hear it, they think it's magical. It's like wizardry. We use Zoom to record all of our trainings. And then we use something called tango.us. Does anybody know what tango.us is? Tango.us. Write this down. I promise you, you will thank me forever. While I'm recording in Zoom, there is a Chrome browser extension that you download from Tango. And what it does is it captures every click you do. So while you're recording and doing your video training on your cloud-based software, your Radar, carriers, all the different things, it's going to record screenshots and the steps that you're taking while you're doing this recording. So immediately it's going to create a recording of your training, and it's also going to screenshot and create an outline for the steps that need to happen in that task. Okay? All right, so that's what those things are over here on the right where you see the how. Now, imagine having something like this, bringing on a new team member, and having them go through all this training before they even start day 1. Or having this as a resource library on how to do things. There is a search button up there where you can search things and immediately find how to get things done. Not only that, but I'm also making sure that my team understands that there is a process to the way we do things. We don't just do them based off our mood. We don't just do them based off the day of the week, right? We all do the things that we do the same way based on the brand that we're talking about and that we're promoting to people, and that we're bringing people in for. And we're able to scale that and make sure it's repeatable. Okay, so the next thing we did is I created position contracts. So position contracts basically explains to the person that's going to be occupying this position what the purpose of the position is and what position they're playing on the team. How many of you like sports? I know I'm a woman up here talking about sports, Lord help me. Right? There's a reason why there's certain positions on a team. There's no I in team, not one person can get this done alone. So they need to understand the position that they're playing on the team in order for them to play well, agreed? It also tells them the results that the position is accountable for, which is how I transfer ownership. Meaning, I don't own the results in this business. You own the results in your position, and that's what I pay you for. I tell my team all the time, I'm like, I pay you for results, I don't pay you for hours, and I don't care if you're doing it, your work and getting these results sitting on the shitter or on the moon, this is what I pay you for. And then also explains to them what it is that I'm measuring and what I'm looking for in their position. So it also gives them a list of standards by which the results need to be, that are going to be evaluated, so they know what's expected and what's inspected. And then there's a section for them to sign, basically saying, I agree that I'm accepting this position and I'm going to take ownership of these results. So there's no assumptions down the line. How many of you have hired people and suddenly a couple weeks or a couple months go by and you're like, this person has no clue what it is I want from them. Or you think they know and they're just not doing a good job and you're like, this person's an idiot, they have no common sense, I don't know why they don't get it, they should just be able to read my mind, they should just know what I want. Doesn't work that way. You have to be clear, you have to set these expectations from the beginning, or they're not going to win, and guess who that's on? It's on you. Now, if you do all of this, and they still suck, everyone. Okay? So, this is not a legal binding contract, this is just an agreement that they understand what they need to be doing. And any individual who is unwilling to perform their responsibilities and keep up the company standards will no longer be part of the team, or they'll be transferred to a position where they can do that. The next thing we did, which we're going to dive deep into, because if there's one thing, if you've been following me for a while, if you've heard me speak before, that I say all the time, it's know your numbers. And for a very long time, I was like, I'm not a numbers person. The numbers are still the numbers, whether you look at them or not. Okay? So, what type of things do we track? First thing we track is our marketing, if we do any marketing. But we were tracking our marketing, right? Our return on investment. What are the most profitable things that we can be doing when it comes to marketing? So that looks like these metrics. I'm going to be giving you examples of metrics you should be measuring in your agency. And if you're not doing this, this is the first thing you should be doing, because when you do this, it's going to give you awareness. And what did I say was the first thing you need in order to make change in your business? Let's all say it together. Everybody say awareness. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, so how many leads are you getting per month? I just named off 64. I looked this morning. 2 seconds, I can check. What are the marketing sources? Where is the business coming from? What's the cost of acquisition? How much did you spend and how much did you make to get that lead? Who is assigned to you? Who are the agents, the sales producers, or whoever? How many are they assigned to this person, that person? Okay? And then where is the lead in the customer journey? Have you gathered information? Have you started the quote? Is the quote in the rater or the agent management system? Have you presented the quote? Are you waiting for something? The next thing we track is sales conversion ratio. So, I made this cute little slide. Took me a long time to get those arrows nice and aligned. So the metrics of sales. You start off with a lead. There's a difference between a lead and a prospect, and I'll tell you what it is. A lead is a one-way street. You have the client's information, kind of like an internet lead, okay? Or somebody fills out a basic contact form. You have not spoken to them yet. You have not gotten permission to quote them yet. You just have their information. So once they're a lead, we want to transfer them and convert them into a prospect. A prospect is, I've gathered the information from you, I'm able to quote you, you already let me know, all the information I need to get you started with the quote. Now, once they become a prospect, they're either going to get quoted or not quoted. Yeah? There's not really much else. Okay. So we want to move them from a lead to a prospect to quoted. Once they're quoted, they either get sold or not sold. And then once they're sold, we want to get them onboarded into our agency. The reason why I have percentages all across that is because you want to figure out what your closing ratio is based on each of these sections. So if I get 100 leads, how many of those do I actually convert to a prospect? And how many of those do I actually quote? And how many of those do I sell? And how many of those do I onboard? Now, the biggest thing is quoted to sold. That's going to be your closing ratio. You should know what your closing ratio is. And when you can break it down and you can track these things, you can look at them and you can say, hold on, where is the kink in the hose? Where is the bottleneck? Where are we falling short? Because once you know and you become aware, this is why I like knowing your numbers, you can show up and support your team on training, developing them, figuring out what's happening and why things are falling through the cracks. Yes? Make sense? If there's anything you track, you want to make more money in your business, this is number one. This right here is an example of what a sales dashboard in our tracking system looks like. It is not our actual numbers. It is just for fun, shits and giggles for us to look at. But the first number at the top is the total month sales. The number on the right is the total sales for the year. The number underneath that is the total premium quoted for the month. To the left of that, you've got your marketing sources, so I know where all the business came from. Right here's our closing ratio. I can see what percentage we are closing business on. And right next to that, I can see the assigned agents that have the business. Okay, in one screen, on one screen, I can take a look at all the metrics I need to know about how well our agency is doing. I have built this system myself. I will talk a little bit about what that is in a minute, and I also have something awesome for you guys to take with you today. However, it's not about what system I use, because you can do this on an Excel sheet. Okay, you can do this on a whiteboard. I think we even have like a magnetic whiteboard in the beginning with like pegs. Anybody ever do that? Yeah. We had a TV screen for a while that had it up in the office. I don't care how you do this and how you measure this, just do it, and then you can get fancy if you want to. Next thing we tracked, retention, cancellations, and renewal. Now when I say retention, I truly just calculate and track our cancellations and our renewals. Why do I say cancellations and not retention? Because I can't control how many people stay as much as I can track and maybe control how many people are leaving. Meaning, it's a smaller number of people leaving. And if you can find out why they're leaving, you can do better at keeping them. Okay, so we track cancellations. Where are they in the cancellation process? What do we need to do to try to keep those people? Why are they leaving? Who wrote them? And then renewals. What's the renewal process? Okay, so the metrics of retention is going to be premium increases, renewal status, are we re-quoting anybody? Have we rewritten anybody? And then what's the cancellation status? The next thing is business finances. Expenses, profit. The metrics of revenue that I want you to start tracking is, what's your total book of business? You guys should all know your total book of business almost to the dollar, let's just say the 100, at any given moment. Revenue, you can track it per carrier, policy type, marketing source, agent. How long have they been in business with you? What's your lifetime value of your client? Operating expenses, your payroll, and your return on investment on your team. Oh, my team loves it when I start pulling up numbers and I'm like, here's how much you lost me. Tell you what, they do a lot better the next month. You need to know this stuff. And then obviously your profit margin. And then tracking, there's business administrative stuff like any projects you're working on. Maybe you're transferring your agent management system. Maybe you're starting social media. Maybe you want to revamp your website. Maybe you're hiring somebody. All your HR stuff, all your licensing stuff, the vendors that you work with, any personal development that you might be working on for you or your team. Tracking those things and making sure you're following up and getting things done. So we do a lot of that. Remember, everything has a number. You need to be tracking the metrics that matter. And when your team sees you doing that, they're going to do better in the things that you're measuring because they know you're measuring them. So then we built a Powerhouse team to do the work, get the results. And that looks like hiring for results. Like I mentioned, the position contract. We want them to know I am hiring you to solve a problem in my business. And that is making sure these results get done. Whether it's customer service, whether it's a receptionist, whether it's a retention specialist or a salesperson. What is the problem you have in your business that they need to solve by bringing these results? I do not hire for skills. I hire for culture fit, core value fit, and that I believe this person is going to help me bring the results. And then I find out what's important to them. What do you want to achieve in the next 5 years? In 2021, every single one of my team members bought their first home because I knew that that was important to them, and we worked together to make sure that the work they were doing in our business was providing them the resource to be able to do that. So as I help them win, I also win in return. And that's the culture we built. And the last thing that I do that I think a lot of people are nervous doing is being transparent with the numbers. Letting them understand how this business works. We're in the residual business. We need to retain business. The more we sell, the more we retain, the more money we make, the more money they make. The more they're able to achieve the things they want to achieve in their life too. And so when you're tracking these things and they have access to tracking and they're updating all the data, they're going to be able to see. I have my team members come to me and say, hey, we need to stop paying for this thing because it's costing us money, we don't need it. Last year in June, we went completely remote. We do not have an office space anymore. And while a little nervous about what our production would look like, it only went up. And so I was able to save on the rent expense, right? And the team was all about it. I mean, at first there was one that was like, I don't know about this. But then when they got to work from their pajamas every day and not have to pay for gas and all that, I think they enjoy it now. So being transparent with the numbers helps give your team information that allows them to help you build what it is you're trying to build. And also, when they see the numbers on how not great they're doing, they're going to be able to hold themselves accountable. All right, the next thing is we built a money plan for increasing profits, more money with less cost to operate. So I've shifted my focus from doing all the doing to designing, going through those phases, and I started feeding my team and developing my team. Tim Ferriss, he wrote the book 4 Hour Workweek. He asked in the book, if you only had 2 hours a week to spend on your business, what would you spend it on? And my answer 100% is always developing my team. That's all I had to do is I would sit with my team and develop them for 2 hours a week. Because your team will make or break you. I simplified and automated daily operations. So the process chart that you saw with all those processes, we made them as simple as possible. Got rid of things that don't actually bring us money. I was talking to a client about 2 weeks ago and she was like, I don't even have time to write all these birthday cards. What the fuck are you talking about? That's not making you money. That is not an income producing activity. And guess what? It can be outsourced. Right? Okay? So we simplified to income producing activities only, or income retention activities because we are in the residual business. And we automated as much as possible. Now, the gift I'm going to give you at the end of this is an entire series talking about how to automate your business and how to build a tracking system like this. And then we minimized office expenses and went fully remote. So continuing to cut off the fat, become a really lean operating business while still increasing our revenue. So let's talk about automations for a second. What things in your business can you automate? Now, there are a lot of systems and products out there that are selling you the idea of automation, which I think is 100% necessary in today's age, especially if you don't want to be spending all this money in your agency on payroll because it's our biggest expense. But there are a million ways to automate things. And I don't care what system you use. Some of the systems, man, they're going to kill me for saying this, but I'm a no bullshit person and I'm going to bring it to you real. Some of them are way too cookie cutter, meaning they give you templates and they give you a system that you can start using, but you can't customize anything, which makes it really hard for us that maybe aren't as tech savvy, or making it really hard for you to want to change some things or transfer out of that system. Maybe CRM with some automations, maybe there's email automations, maybe there's some funnels, if any of you guys know what I'm talking about. But there are a million ways that you can automate. So think about the things that you do every single day that's costing you a lot of payroll, $10 an hour tasks that are clogging up your salespeople that you can automate. Or maybe even your service team. We have a massive book of business with one customer service rep. It's because 90% of the job's automated. Literally the only thing they do is incoming service requests that a computer can't do. Okay? So follow-ups, notifications, having data being pulled, paying your bills. I mean, as simple as that. Like, automate your freaking bills. Don't be spending a lot of time sitting there having to pay bills. You are worth a lot more than a $10 an hour task. Agreed? Yeah. By the way, I have a whole YouTube video about knowing your worth and your hourly cost. Any recurring activities. So our entire renewal process is automated. 3 weeks before somebody's renewal, they get a text message and an email from us. And then once they renew, the system automatically updates the renewal date to 365 days from that date, and it starts all over again. If somebody has a certain percentage of increase, it flags that renewal, and it pushes them into a section that notifies us, hey, they have this percentage of renewal, you might want to requote them, or maybe not, depending on who the client is. The thing with automations and tracking, you have to remember that garbage in, garbage out. Your team has to know how to use it. You need to be dedicated to it and get it done. And if you don't do it well, it's not going to work well, which is why I'm not a huge fan of the already kind of cookie cutter built out systems. I like things I can change because every agency in here is completely unique. The way you talk to your clients, your brand, how you run your business, even though we might all sell the same thing. Okay, so when it comes to money and building our money plan, at minimum, you should know the answer to these two questions. You should know exactly how much it costs you every month to operate, and you should know exactly, on average, because some months are higher than others, how much money you make. And when you take one and minus the other, you get your profit. I'm so sick of this industry flexing how big their book of business is. I don't give a shit. Show me your bank account. Okay? The real flex is your profit margin. I have had clients who are at $10 million, $1 million a year in revenue, and can't make payroll next month. And you're like, how did you get here? They got there by being super complicated and not looking at the numbers and not having awareness of what was happening in their business. So if there's one thing you do when you go home this week, find out how much money is coming into your bank account on average every month in revenue from your business and how much it's costing you to operate. I can tell you down to the penny how much it costs us to operate our business. This is why we're in business, to make money. And if you're not spending time focusing on that, you're in a charity. Let's get real, right? What did I say earlier? The numbers will still be the numbers even if you don't look at them. I used to be really afraid to look at my bank account. I used to drum roll when the State Farm commission check report was coming out. So I was like, I don't know how much is going to be on here. I hope it just covers. I hope I'm able to take some money home. Yeah, none of that anymore. And when you track your renewals, you'll be able to see month by month how much premium is renewing, and you can calculate and predict how much money your business is going to make. Even yesterday, I was talking to my team member, and I was like, how much revenue are we gonna make this month? Yeah, my team member. She told me, and I was like, huh? Who renewed? What is this? She was like, what do you mean it's this much more than last year? I was like, oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. We knew exactly how much was coming in, right? My fifth business is a business consulting business where I do online business consulting for insurance agency owners, and it's called Agency by Design. And the whole point of this was, I wish I had a Cassidy when I was coming up. I wish I had somebody who could have guided me to cut the bullshit, really show me how to build a business that was going to make me money even without me. And so, well, I decided to do it instead. Okay? Once I was able to create it, I show up now to help people do that. So, it's about building an ecosystem, your business, that runs like a profitable, well-oiled machine, even without you as part of the equation. And it takes all 4 parts I'm going to go over. Every single business we have all gets built on this foundation, on this framework. The 4 sections, the first one is the purpose. And the purpose is all about who you are as a leader, what's your vision, where do you want to go, and your ideal client avatar and the brand that's your reputation. It's the purpose of your business. Why does it exist? Who does it exist for? And why should they give a shit? The second part is processes. This is the what, the who, the how, all based on the business operations and activities that are going to get you the results that you need to live out your purpose. After that is productivity, which means the when. And all of that is based on the processes you just created to get done, to get the results you need to achieve. But when do they get done? How can you be more productive? How can you be more efficient? How are you showing up and executing? At what volume are you executing? At what efficiency are you executing? And the bottom part is profit. So 4 P's: purpose, processes, productivity, and profit. 4 P's, okay? Trying to keep it as simple because I know it can seem complicated and be overwhelming. The thing that I want you to know the most, though, is that business is not complicated. You guys can sometimes complicate the shit out of it. And complicated is confusing. Business is honestly pretty simple. Doesn't mean it's not hard, but we can simplify it. So if you work on these 4 pieces of your business, you will have a successful business. So the last piece was profit. All of that is based on the income versus operating expenses, on the activity, the productivity, your team efficiency to continue to increase profit, to achieve the results that you want and beyond. And where the magic happens is when you have all of those 4 things working. You cannot create processes when you don't know where you want your business to go. You can't get efficient at executing on processes you don't have. And you can't make money and be profitable and make sure your profit margin is continuing to increase if you don't have the first 3 winning, like a well-oiled machine. So these are the 4 P's that we teach in Agency by Design, which I went through a lot today. The tracking is number 1. Go back and track. Figure out a way to get these numbers together in a concise way so you become aware of what's happening in your business, and you can start moving from doing to deciding to delegating to designing your business. And think about how in your agency you are using these 4 P's and how well you feel like you're doing in those. Free training, how to build your agency that runs itself. You can steal our exact system and setup of our tracking system. I show you an entire video, walk you through step-by-step how we did this on a system called Monday.com, where we house all of our automations and integrations fully customizable. One thing I want you to take home is to know your numbers. Do not be afraid of looking at them. It is one of the first things that if you can get comfortable with, if you can build a process around tracking the information that's happening in your business, you will automatically start making changes that are going to boost the efficiency of what's happening in your systems and your processes, and in turn, get you more money. Now, that's all I got for you. Come and hang out with me. If you download that video to watch, you'll get an email with it, and we can stay in touch. Make sure to follow on all the things. I have so many amazing trainings and videos on YouTube.
Let's give a round of applause for Cassidy.